All right, and I do have, I don't have a full hour, so I was fine with Mike going over, and I'm fine to talk about OpenVMS. But let's get going here.
It's actually a myth about mobile phones and planes. The real issue is the problem with the number of towers they talk to actually saturates the cell network. Really.
And they such use the pressure
Yeah.
house.
All right, so I'm here to talk about DFU. It's this presentation, actually, Norm Lastovica gets a lot of credit for. He did most of it. And in fact, as we go through this, I encourage questions, and Norm will do his best to answer them. If I can figure out how to operate it. So what is DFU? It's a file utilities tool, right? So lots of various utilities for performing file operations that generally either you can't do from DCL or will do much faster and much more efficiently than DCL can do. It augments, a lot of various utilities that are out there today. Kind of fills in holes where some holes are missing, and improves on things in other areas. And speed is one of the real benefits. Actually, for the first time I think ever, I'm gonna actually try and do a demo just to show some speed differences. Because I can't do that, I got to do it this way. DFU came out of Digital Equipment Corporation. It was what's called the Skunk Works projects. It was developed over in the Netherlands. There was a team over there, some really good quality engineers. In particular, a gentleman by the name of Tom Dorland gets a lot of the credit for it. Audrey Sweep is another guy who wrote some of it. Audrey also is one of the original authors of the LD driver, things like that. But Tom Dorland, Tom worked with me on PathWorks for many years, so I know Tom very well. And good guy, besides being a very good engineer. Once Tom left Digital, or probably it was HP at the time, maybe Compaq, Ger Vandenberg took over. And until recently, that's where you would go. You go to Ger's site in the Netherlands to get DFU if you wanted DFU. But Ger's very busy on many other different things, and he really hasn't done any maintenance to it for a long time. At some point, SCI, over the course of managing systems the way that we do, felt that there's different things that we would like to improve DFU to do. Enhance it, improve it, that sort of thing. So I reached out to Tom and Ger, who I know as well, and asked point blank, can we get the sources? And we want to enhance them, we want to add to it, we want to improve it. And they agreed. And we did that many years ago. And we've been, over time, improving that tool to help us do our work. And in the last year or so, we said, we really should try and get this out to the community, let the community have access to it as well. As a lot of beneficial improvements in there. So I think it was back in, I don't know, June, July, somewhere around there. Earlier this year, we released a version 3.5 to the OpenVMS community. So you can still go to Ger's site in the Netherlands and get the older version, but the most recent version 3.5 is available from SCI at this point in time. It's also available on Alpha, i64, and x86. And maybe that was really the thing that kicked it over, was we ported it to x86. Ger obviously hadn't done that. So, we felt that as people start to ramp up x86, there may be a real need for having this tool available for x86 systems. We wanted it in there. What's that?
On the 2 terabyte volume, so the word.
Are there different versions for x86 and Titanium?
Version 3.5 runs on Alpha, Titanium, or x86. Yeah. So the terms and conditions, it is freeware, can be freely downloaded and used. It's provided as is, no warranties. It's not COTS, and this will be available. You can read it. It's on our website. The source code is not available. Okay. It wasn't available from Jure's website. It's never really been available, and SCI is continuing in that same regards. If there's any problems, send us mail. We've already received some bug reports and we fixed the bugs, and maybe some enhancement requests that came through there as well. We're very interested in learning of new ideas or how we can improve the tool or how we can do things with the tool to help you do your job. And SCI is not responsible for anything when it comes to this.
It's great to be able to do that.
If there's any problems, as I said before, report it to dfu@sci.com. We make no promises, but I think we've been responsive so far. So that's a list of the various functions that come with it. I'll talk about a few of them. How many people in the room are familiar with DFU? All right, let's flip around. Anybody not? Anybody? Okay. Really, Stan? Yeah, I figured you would have been. No? Okay. All right.
It's not around to it.
Yeah, okay. So these are various things. I'm not going to talk in detail about all of them. I'll talk a little bit about some of them that come with the primary functions that it offers. The search command, allows you to quickly, search through your file system by way of index, the index file. Allows you to search by all of these various attributes that are listed there. This can get really creative, or you can get really creative and get really powerful with what you're doing when you're basically looking at a disk and going and trying to find various files based on various attributes. I'll go through a couple of examples. The other thing a search allows you to do is put output to a file, allows you to sort, allows you to compact things, gives you full, that sort of thing. So not only is it allowing you to very quickly and efficiently look through your whole file system, but then you can also kind of manipulate that output because, it could become quite significant. One of the things that's really kind of neat is the /format qualifier. So that allows you to format the output in such a way that you could then maybe come up with commands. For example, as it says there, you might do a search where you're looking for temp files and then formatting the output into a delete command. So it'd be delete /confirm, with a string positional there for the file name we're going to. You could also, when you're searching files, not only search for the files, but then just immediately take action. For example, delete, right? So search for temp files, and then if you have /delete, it'll delete them, right, as it finds them. An example of search, so this is kind of what we're talking about. So the command that's up there now, you're searching A is just one a logical name for a device, a disk. So you're looking for all .temp/tmpx files, and then you want to output the format. You want to format the output such that it looks like a delete statement. And then we're going to go as far as to put that into a command procedure called del.com. So there's your search command. And that's what delete.com ends up looking like, right? So you want to be cautious and not delete as it finds them, but just create this command file. Then you can look at the command file and execute it if you wanted to. Or you can just go ahead and delete it as it happens. So this one is doing the same search. You're looking for those tempx files, but then your action is delete. So as it finds them, it's delete.
Oh, in that search, don't you want to do a semicolon star to get all the versions? if you have a version 1 and 2 to a file,
I'd say no, I didn't. Unlike some people, I don't necessarily edit my output. I don't, I think it'll do all of them.
Yeah, I think by default it picks all versions.
Fix them all.
If you don't put the version in, it will do all.
So the way the search command worked. So imagine the normal case, your star dot 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 star dot temp. That traverses all the directories one after another and shows you all the files. The search command is much different. I look to the index file only. And I rip through that in great big IOs, looking for a matching file name. There's really no concept in the way this works of by version. There is, but it's not important. So what we're doing here is saying, find me all the files on the disk with this name. And so that's what it lists out. And if there was version 10 and version 100, whatever. Further, when we say action delete, we sort the list effectively descended. So that when we delete files out of a directory, we delete the ones at the end of the directory first, so it's fast. Unlike if I just like delete star.temp, we start at the front of the directory deleting files. So I delete a file, shove the whole directory up, and delete another file, shove the whole directory up. So there's a lot of subtlety that it happens behind the scenes in this command, but it's also really fast. So it's different than just saying delete star.temp.
okay,
If I've answered your question appropriately.
yes, you have, thank you.
Yeah.
So just to show how fast, the search goes, and many things within DFU. And this is a real example, right? So sometime in the last week or so, I had a need to find the DexSet kit, that the latest DexSet patches. Somebody had downloaded onto our system, but I didn't know where they put it, and I couldn't get a hold of the person. So the way you might normally do that would be command similar to what's there, right? You directory on the disk, the whole tree, and looking for a DexSet file name, right? And if I actually do that, I'm already bored, right?
The system is slow.
Huh? Yeah. But it finds it eventually, but I've already, I've got ADD that's really bad. So I've already gone off and started doing something else entirely. And yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So you can see it finds it. Let's just get out of here.
Hey, Bryce,
Yes.
the doubters are gonna say, well, no, that's caching, it's a C or it's cached at this point, so. So, if you do it twice now, of course, if you does it, it's gonna be, that's what's gonna speed it up, so you might keep going, but not true.
No, because DFU is entirely different, right?
In fact, DFU here is skipping all of the caches. Read the index file directly, don't even bother with whatever the XFC is.
So this would be a similar search command using DFU. And you'll see that comes back right away and found the files of question of interest, right? And that's a very common difference in the way DFU works and how helpful it is. Somebody like me who gets distracted, no longer gets distracted, works very well like that.
Can you search on file contents? You're looking for a file that's got XYZ in it,
So that would start to get into perhaps,
you have to open all the files.
maybe using your output in the format segment, that sort of thing, right? We can't search the content itself that way. Again, as Norm said, it's going through the index file to identify files, but if you can spit out all of the files of interest maybe, and then do something, if you can narrow it down, but an actual search, no, there's other things you can do to do fast searches.
Okay,
Brad, DFU obviously defaults to the current disk. Is there a qualifier?
No, No, it doesn't.
Does it?
No, I've specified a disk there, right? So where's my command? I've specified the device here.
But what if you don't specify the device? I think was the question.
Yeah.
I suspect it's gonna fail, right? Yeah.
So, yes.
All right. Section. All right, so we looked at that slide. Did the demo. Reversion's another one that can sometimes be really helpful, right? So we all know 32.767 version, we can't create anymore. So, this is something that we added, and, is very helpful. You can see, I think, plain as day there, how it goes about reversioning, all of the file names.
Wow. Always wanted something like that.
You got it.
I can do that on open files when closed.
It'll do open files, right?
Rename works on open.
Yeah, because it's doing the index f.sys and that part. Does it? Oh, sorry.
So there's a lot of magic going on in this innocent looking thing. But basically, here, find all the files that match your criteria, whatever you just. And then sort them by version, just kind of how they come back from RMS. And then for each one of them, come up with the new version number, which will start at 1 and then start incrementing. And then for each one of them has to be removed from the directory and reinserted in the directory in the right place. Using normal RMS model, there's no magic there. But yeah, open files, you can do whatever you want renaming. Because when you have a file open, it's not actually locking the directory or the file header for this particular thing. So yeah, you can rename the version.
Does it change the date, any of the date and time fields as well?
I can't remember the answer to that question. Some of the operations do update the file header at the end, so the modification date gets changed. Some of them don't. And I can't remember if I decided that this should or shouldn't, because I want backup to pick it up. So I need to set the modification date so backup picks up the new version at the end of the day. Was that the right answer or the right decision? Probably not for half the people.
Yeah.
Probably half the people.
Maybe it's something that would be good to specify.
Yeah, I mean, there's not nearly enough qualifiers, I think. That would be an excellent addition.
Actions and directory files need to be touched. The file header, the directory file will hold the version to pick them up.
And so is a file header.
Yes, but I mean, if you modify the directory file, back up the new version.
No, it's long to do the direct.
So the question is, should I back up the file or only the file name?
That's it.
That's the difference. I don't want to get brought up on time. It's like-
No, this is all good. It's all good. The delete command, does things quickly, but more importantly, this is where you can pick up the delete tree. But also things like delete by file ID if for some reason you only have that available for you. Just an example of deleting a directory and its contents, right? So if you just have a directory with some file in it and then you use DFU to go ahead and delete it, and then boom, it's gone, just like that. Okay. And then of course you want to do the whole tree, very similar. So you've got a directory with a tree with a subdirectory and stuff in both of them, and then you do your directory, you do your delete. It tells you what it's deleting, and just like before, you go ahead and try to look at that directory and it's gone. So very, very convenient.
There's no incident switch. Yeah.
We gotta do a function.
Yeah, see, and I didn't go into detail, but there is an undelete function as well.
Most important.
Really, unbelievable.
So if you have a raise on delete on the, volume.
Yeah, then less useful.
Compressing directories sometimes can be very important. You know, especially, you know, you get these active, application directories where you're creating lots of log files and deleting them and things are growing and shrinking and that sort of thing. So the directory has a compress command, a qualifier. Version allows you to search for files with some number of versions. Files lets you search for directories. They have some number of entries. You can also search for empty directories. So a lot of possibilities there with the directory command that can be very useful in doing your maintenance of your file system. Just a sample of the directory compress command. You can see what size the file, the directory was before and then what it got compressed down to.
I found that makes a huge difference on performance of certain operations.
Absolutely. Is that something we added in the compressor? Was that there? That was there?
Compressors being out of water.
I think it was there and then it was removed. I don't think it's come back.
So while we're talking about compressive, funny aside. So imagine you've got a directory, it's like 5,000 blocks long, it's got these files, we compress it, it's now 500 blocks. But it's still allocated with 5,000 on disk, so it'll grow back efficiently. So there's also a truncate option, which lops it from 5,000 back to 500. Like, oh, the application's broken, throw it directly junk, cleaned it all up, which is great, except there's a bug in the XQP where under really unusual, bizarre conditions, which almost nobody is going to fall into, it'll crash your system. And took a while to sort of the cause and effect. We tried it a couple times to find out that it continues to crash the customer system. And ultimately, Andy Goldspeed got involved and rolled up his sleeves and cut open the patient's chest and fixed the file system here 40 years after the fact.
Look, the other interesting thing on the truncate. Truncated, and it was a highly fragmented volume. They may need to extend that directory because they're going to create another 100,000 files in the directory.
Now they can't.
And now they can't.
Yeah.
Directories have to be contiguous.
So, you know, another one, you know, if you want to go try and find out who's got too many files in their directory for whatever reason. Find directories with some number of files. Report basically will give you a lot of information about a given volume. And it also creates DCL symbols for everything that it ends up displaying. So the next three screens are the output of the DFU report on sys device. You can see what's here. Some basic information, a little bit more detailed, a little bit more kind of digging down, so to speak. But again, a lot of information about that particular volume, including things like the most fragmented file, largest directory file, things that you may want to try to address, and then free space as well. There's a free space fragmentation index, excellent, good, fair, bad. So give you some idea as far as fragmentation in free space. And then all of that information is available in symbols afterwards, so that you could then, process some other command procedure or what have you to do additional work based on those symbols. I don't know if there's anything else I want to say about the report. I think it's all there. The set command basically gives you access to changing some file characteristics that set file at DCL can't. Yeah, I don't think I have any more on that. So that's just a list. So that's trying to draw attention to it and be aware of it. You may want to go look into whether any of this might be helpful to you in your organization. So some upcoming features. Probably the nicest one is the fast IO. So taking advantage of system services that are doing fast IO. We've got file copy, device copy, and file erase. Fast copy file is really much improved for large file copies. I've got a comparison here of a DFU copy of a roughly 10 gigabyte file. You can see the elapsed time difference for 1:43 43 versus 2 minutes 22. The other thing that kind of sticks out there a little bit, if you look at the direct IO over to the right for the DFU command, and then the accounting information for the DCL command, so about half of the IO, and that's because it's using the bigger.
Like an interesting use case for that.
Yeah.
If you're about to mob a copy, a disk into a shadow set that's
We're gonna
running
get
on
there.
like disk.
We're gonna get there. Fast erase, similar situation. If you really need to actually erase, and you can also do erase and delete. That example I've got there is doing same 10 gigabyte file. It's doing the erase and delete. So fast copy device, that gets to what you were just asking about, right? So this is actually device to device. The target device will get essentially destroyed because it's going to init it, right? And a great use case is exactly what you said. When you're building up shadow sets, to basically do a fast copy and then add into the shadow set to save yourself a lot of IO at that point. An example of how that would work.
Now, does that copy the boot sector and everything?
Every block.
Every block.
What do you say?
So I quite often use backup/physical, so this will be faster than backup/physical.
I would expect it to be twice as fast. It's possible that it's gonna be 4 times faster, but I would say on average, it will be twice as fast and use 1/10 the amount of CPU.
Interesting.
Another thing that's been added is due to all. So this will allow you to execute a DCL command against each disk. It actually does it in a sub-process, and now it's doing it parallel as well. So it says you perform some operation on many disks at one time. Here's an example. If you wanted to delete all the 10 files that were created before yesterday on all the disks, right? That would be your command. You to all disks, you do a DFU search. Dev is essentially the tag that needs to be in the command. That'll get replaced with the specific disk name, device name. So you're going to do DFU search, looking for 10 files that were created before yesterday, and your action you're going to take is delete, and you're going to do that to every single device. In parallel sub-process. So it happens quickly. So another little demo, kind of extending what I did looking for that deck set kit, and it's actually what I really did looking for the deck set kit. I just happened to find it on my local disk. Let me see if I can remember this now.
Use this myself. Just create one thread for each disk.
Yeah, but I'm off the top of my head, by default, it'll run 32 sub-processes for your process count or sub-process count, whatever that limit is. But you can adjust, like, if you only want to do one at a time, and there's a couple of good use cases for that, you can specify.
So I used to have this command procedure, a little command procedure that would go off and search all the disks for something, right? And it's a loop and it just grabs each disk and then at the bottom, near the bottom area, I'm doing a directory command on the disk, looking for DECset 1300, right? If I actually execute that, right? I'm getting bored. What's that? I'm getting bored, right? We can all go get coffee. This is gonna take a while. But instead, if I instead just do the DFU version of this, which is really just a very simple command, right? A lot of output, but it's done, and it did find the same kits right here, right? I think it found them on. Oh no, it didn't. But that's how quickly it came back, right? So again, much faster. So we're using DFU to do the search, which is faster than DCL, and then we're using do to all disk, so it does it in parallel with multiple processes. All right, so we're talking about this new release. When? Well, how about tomorrow? So the intention is to release this tomorrow. DFU version will be version 3.5-200. That's some of the new stuff that's in there. Yeah. How do you get it? Go to the SCI website, specifically the DFU-freeware subpage. There's a form that you fill out to request a link. Basically, we're going to email it to you, so we're going to ask you for your email address. We promise we do not sell that information to anyone. I mean, we're not going to spam you. There is a little checkbox for okay for us to send you, and 2 or 3 times a year, if lucky, I may send out some sort of information to our list. For example, when this thing was announced, I blasted that out to our list. You know, when x86 finally was booted, I sent that out to our list, things like that. So we don't spam you. Really would appreciate it if you'd give us a real address. The other thing that we ask is, well, you have to give us a real address, otherwise you won't get the link. But you know, the other thing that we ask is that you don't redistribute it anywhere. So, you know, some of you, I know there's definitely some consultants in the room, work at multiple sites. We very much prefer, just so we have an idea where it's going, that you download it individually for each site that you may be supporting. But at the end of the day, there's not much we can do with it. You do, you know, do what you have to with it. Norm had this slide in here as well. Just we have found a number of bugs with just by using DFU and things along those lines, and this is basically just best practice. Stay current on patches. And that's all I got.
You address undelete, please.
Was that?
Address undelete, that's where I use an logical to not give you the menu version. The DFU undelete.
Yeah, I get. Is there a question or?
Could you just talk about it, how it works, like you did with the others?
I'll let Norm talk about it.
All right, so the undelete function or command of DFU. So when you delete a file in VMS, it's quick, right? Delete, boot up through and spawn. The only reasons it's quick is because VMS doesn't really do very much. And so deleting a file involves removing its directory entry, so it won't show up when you do a directory. And then it marks the file header where it was as not used. That's it. Unless you have erase and delete on your disk, which I hope nobody does in the same way I hope nobody uses file header like Mark. Okay, again, performance and security are, yeah, those are different topics. And so the undelete command, you give it the name. And it goes and scans the index file, just like search does. However, in this case, I want a matching name in a file header that has already been deleted. So now I found it. So we traverse all the remaining file headers, if it's static stats, and make sure all the pieces are there. And if all the pieces are there, then we can put it back. Basically, clear that little flag and stick it in the correct place. Not always going to work. If I delete my file and Brad creates a new one, it's possible that his new file is going to go right in the middle of where my old file used to be on disk. I'm out of luck. I was too slow. I think it's probably a couple of similar kinds of cases that'll get in trouble, but that's all it does. And it locks the volume while it's operating because it doesn't want things changing out from under me and to prevent him from creating a new file while you're trying to retrieve your deleted file. The other comment you made is about the smug logical name. So I believe that when DFU got written, smug, which is probably VMS version 4, when it got introduced, the screen management runtime library. Like if you do show cluster continuous, you can type commands while that utility is running. Smug does all that for you. Does all the screen manipulation. So when DFU got written, I think Smug was new and it looked kind of cool and a shiny little feature. So Smug is all over DFU. I hate it. I really don't like that interface. So I changed the default to be not using Smug by default. If you want it, you go out of your way to get it. So that'll be a difference when you upgrade to 3.5 is it doesn't do all the screen drawing by default.
Yeah, and that's supported on that app because I have it in the logins.
Mhm.
So there you go.
Yeah, I as well. I'm trying to think if there are any other fun things about
It'll give you a list, won't it?
Yeah, I think it gives you a list. I don't delete files by mistake.
Yeah.
I don't live in needing this very often.
Plus, we have erased on delete on all the
Yeah.
things anyway, so I haven't used undelete.
Plus, all of my temporary file names are called x.x. So like undeleting x.x is going to be a million. So I create them all over the place. One of the things I wanted to add here is we're always looking for new ideas. And somebody said something today that kind of made me think, oh, that could be done. So yeah, I mean, play with it, use it, figure out, does it do what you need it to do? If you think of something you want to do that it can't do, let us know. Uh-oh.
No, he didn't really mean that.
Yeah, that's a smart one.
When you do the undelete, where does it put the file?
I don't remember. We could probably test it right now, but I don't recall. It does the right thing. Yeah, like, I don't know what, I assume it puts it back into your directory, but I don't know.
Yeah. You're going to put it back where it was.
I guess it knows the directory idea of where it used to be. But it probably tries to put it back.
And again, from index F, which has a couple files.
Yeah, it doesn't drop it, it's just not lost or something.
Yeah, it does the right thing.
That's a great thing.
Did anyone ever use, I think it was you.
I think Brad's gonna try it.
Nah.
All right, so there's a couple of things Brad didn't talk about, which.
Oh, there's a lot of things I didn't talk about.
All right, so many years ago, when this was a digital internal product, DFU had defragment of a disk. And then digital created the DFG product because they sold it for money. And so told the DFU people to take this out. So it got commented up. Subsequently, those people don't work for digital anymore and digital doesn't exist anymore. And so some of that code got unpumped. So if you look at the defragment command, you can defragment individual bad files or defragment all of the files and all of the free space on a block. Care. Coincidentally, it's way faster than that other product. But I didn't tell you about any of that.
Okay.
So, is that, I think when you used, going back to the early nineties now, it was called a tech system manager, I think, and it was VAX only. And that had a lot of similar functions that DFU gave you, and I can't remember what it was, but I remember the company folded, disappeared, and we got no updates for it. So I think I think it worked on version 6 and not on version 7.
That's entirely new.
Yeah, I've been racking brains what it was called. I think I even got a month with the name of the product on it.
You can, yeah, and I will say between the do to all discs and the format, there's all sorts of different combination of things that you can put together to do things really fast, but otherwise.
Yeah,
you'd
but
be
it's something
really
on there.
hard to accomplish.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to, I thought I had some.
If you have large volumes and you're copying large files, stay current with VMS versions.
Yeah, there's
Red mentioned that.
Yeah, there's a bug in the fast IO perform fast IO code VMS where it's actually really funny. It was a bug that kept coming and going and coming and going. And so a file that existed past 1 terabyte on a disk, which that had LVMs there, the program would blow up when you try to do fast IO past halfway on the disk, but you run it again, and now it works fine because everything is on the first half of the disk. So update those patches. Just stay current. Install all the current VMS patches, and anything I know about is fixed.
So something I do relatively regularly is I want to modify a file, but I want to retain all the creation modification dates with one command. So I'd like to be able to, so what I've been using is convert with all the stuff. But
So
what we'd like to do is capture the information, modify the file, change it, and then put all the dates back to the modified file.
where you want to store all that in between.
Well, then, I mean, at the moment, I'm reading it from the, I'm using
The
the,
file attributes, you'll cover it.
yeah, reading the file attribution.
And then set file/attribute equals date, whatever. Yeah.
It'd be nice to do it all in one, but I can see how to do it without.
Well, we're not sure exactly what modifications you want to make.
So I will tell you the set attributes, all those things, a lot of that stuff was done, back in the 1990s. The VMS set file/attributes command was done after. And so a lot of those attributes and all the date fields supersede the need for a lot of that. I mean, it's there if you want to use it, but I prefer you find bugs in italics code by using the set file.
So what am I doing wrong with undelete? It's not working. So I created food up bar, deleted it. No food up bar. And I think this is the right command.
Is it on
Doesn't seem to find
DGA?
it.
We didn't find it.
I don't know.
Is there a help command with this utility? All right, so the help in totally to defend myself, I got a help file is all I got. I had to turn it back into SPML. SPML, so document reconverted with the current stuff. So there's a bunch of formatting problems. And it was written by a non-native English speaker to start with. So undelete start.
Are you on DGA 6?
Oh,
Oh,
So these demos are not rehearsed.
Absolutely.
This is all an ad-lib performance.
This definitely is.
That would have been more fun if you deleted more files and tried it.
That would have been great. All right, let's try this again. File's gone. I don't know. I got it. DFU on delete, file food up bar. It still didn't get it right. There's no food up bar.
How about the slash list?
Name doesn't stop at the root.
Another file.
It's starting. So a lot of people make the mistake of rehearsing their presentations ahead of time.
We don't do that.
Does it stick it somewhere else?
Really embarrassing way to find out.
Not doing the right thing?
There's no sys loss on it, right?
Oh, by the way, gents.
It's feature.
There's no food on bar. Maybe it doesn't like it being in there.
Well, we'll figure it out at some point.
Come back for next year's boot camp. Update his presentation along with the results of this. Yeah, let us know if there's things that would help you, that this is the appropriate kind of place for it. If VMS doesn't do it or doesn't do it very well already, why not?
Thank you.
And thank you for the work for you as well. Really appreciate it.
So,
Yeah.
not many more DFG licenses being sold.
I had a network guy I used to do it with, and he used to say DFU. It actually meant to put the unit.
Yeah.
So it's just two commands. So we say, MCRS can create boot up R the size of your free space. And then use the account activity.
Good, how's it going?
Oh, we had one laptop die.
Yeah.
So
So to go back and get another one.
Yeah, this is,
understood by LDN ranges.
yeah, you put it by LBA, and you've got to know that, the leaf fragment, know the LBA range.
So how you been, Stan?
Just.
I'm doing good. How are you?
We just find out the leaf fragment, the leaf fragment will know.
I understand.
We're doing much emulator work?
Why?
What?
Doing many
Much emulator work for any projects?
for me, personally.
But for some,
We'll do things like that.
not sympathetic.
Yeah.
But not rules.
Oh, it's just a kid.
When the min.
We haven't had,
It's been this.
we haven't had anything doing.
Really?
I mean, we're not out there making bushes trying to find any of it.
Well,
Generally, yes.
Yeah.
I accept the fact that I'm not getting any vaccines or previous these. Some really
There's an idea about having.
bears down on, scholars.
Right, you pressed with that.
They told me that, they have one replacement,
Yeah.
It wouldn't be.
5,000. They went to the crowd. It was like,
Yeah, there's huge volume there.
because each company, one company had 5,000 seats for trucks.
Yeah, it's an idea.
And so they moved the whole damn thing, which is like,
If
I'd like to have you 10% of that, but,
Sure.
Something that I was thinking might be.
Yeah,
but, that was,
If you end up using these. It's
I,
whether it gets used. I'm really honest with that.
might have to get rid of my image floppy and nice pack. Which, you know, I get an inquiry about night pack, you know, what's their rating goes now, few months. Another.
I shut it off. Yeah.
So I'll be in here tomorrow, same time.
I mean, make sure you close the Teams meeting, honestly, because it's not recorded. See, it's still recorded, so you get a half hour. So we'll do, oh no, it's out, okay.
Yeah, I would like to know too.
Okay, good.
They lock all this stuff at night, right?
I have no idea, to tell you the truth, but I think so. Oh, it's so weird. It is still recording. All right. Oh, that was sharing. Still recording though. Leave.